Hello, and welcome to this history tutorial on the challenges to the Weimar Republic from the left and right. This is for Edexcel GCSE Weimar and Nazi Germany. Today we will cover the range of political opposition to the new republic from both left and right-wing groups. We will examine the Spartacist uprising from the left and the right-wing Cat Putsch. We will also examine the role of the Freikorps. Just like in the UK, when the Weimar Republic was created, Germany had several political parties. These political parties all sit on a political spectrum and are considered either left-wing, right-wing or centrist parties. The first serious challenge to the Weimar Republic came from the extreme left when in January 1919 the Communists tried to overthrow the new government. The German Communist Party, KPD, had been set up in December 1918. It was backed by the Soviet Union and was so well funded it soon had 33 daily newspapers and 400,000 members. The Communists were supported by the Spartacist League. The Spartacists were based in Berlin and had named themselves after the head of a slaves revolt in ancient Rome, Spartacus. The Spartacists supported the Communists and were led by Rosa Luxemburg, Red Rosa, and Karl Liebknecht. In January 1919, workers were protesting across Germany. The Spartacists saw this as their chance to undermine the government. They called for an uprising and a general strike in Berlin, and on the 6th of January, over 100,000 workers took to the streets. They seized the government's newspaper and telegraph offices. The Weimar government was losing control of the capital. Chancellor Ebert needed to put down the Spartacist rebels. However, so soon after the war, the German armed forces were in no shape to put down the revolt alone, so Ebert turned to a new force. Thousands of soldiers released from the army had returned to Germany in November 1918, but had kept their weapons. Many were right-wing and strongly opposed to the Communists. Ebert used this group, the Freikorps, to put down the rebellion. The mainly unarmed workers were no match for them. By the 13th of January, the rebels had been driven off the streets. On the 16th of January, Luxemburg and Liebknecht were arrested and killed by the Freikorps. For the time being, the left-wing communist rebellion had been suppressed. By 1920, Ebert's government was struggling to control the Freikorps. In March 1920, Freikorps units near Berlin were due to be disbanded. Fearing unemployment, they turned their arms against the Republic. 5,000 armed men marched on Berlin. When Ebert ordered units of Freikorps to stop these rebels, they refused to fire upon their own. Soon the rebels controlled the city. They put forward a nationalist politician, Wolfgang Kapp, as their leader. They declared a new government of Germany and invited the Kaiser to return from exile. In fear for their lives, members of the government fled to Weimar and then to Stuttgart. Unable to put the revolt down by force, they urged people not to cooperate and instead go on strike. Many workers obliged, as they had socialist leanings and had no desire to see the Kaiser return. Essential services, gas, electricity, water, transport, stopped, and the capital ground to a halt. After 4 days, Kapp realised he could not govern. He fled, was caught, and put in prison, where he later died. The rebellion collapsed and the Weimar ministers returned. Even after the defeat of the Spartacist and Kapp uprisings, political challenges to the Weimar Republic continued from the left and right wing. In all, between 1919 and 1922, there were 376 political murders, mostly of left-wing or moderate politicians. Not a single right-wing murderer was convicted and executed, while 10 left-wing assassins were. Judges sympathetic to the right wing even undermined the Weimar Republic in the courts. The Weimar Republic therefore staggered through the years 1919 to 22, plagued by challenges from left-wing and right-wing extremists inside and outside the Reichstag. In 1923, though, things became even worse. In summary, the left-wing Spartacist uprising saw the Communists try to overthrow the new government. In January 1919, the Spartacists used a workers' protest to call for an uprising and a general strike in Berlin. Ebert turned to a new force, the Freikorps, to put down the rebellion, and by the 16th of January, the rebels had been driven off the street and the Spartacist leaders had been arrested and killed. The right-wing Cat Putsch saw the Freikorps turn against the Weimar Republic, and 5,000 armed men marched on Berlin. They declared a new government of Germany and invited the Kaiser to return from exile. Unable to put down the revolt by force, the government urged people to go on strike. After 4 days, Kapp realised he could not govern. He fled, but was caught and put in prison, where he later died and the rebellion collapsed. To get further help, visit history.outwood.com, see your teacher in school, or check out quiz.outwood.com for those sweet revision quizzes. You can also follow the Outwood Humanities team on Twitter at @OGATHumanities. Until next time, that was a little bit of history.